every year you go into a season worrying about certain positions and how they're going to play out. Then you get positions where if one guy goes down, you know you're in big trouble. This is why Howie Roseman must continue to try to add to this roster. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here, and training camp can't get here soon enough because I can't wait for this Eagle team to take the field and show the world how good they are. I don't care if all the crap, all the naysayers trying to bring this team down right now, it ain't going to work because my quarterback, he's out there working. He is busting his ass. My new running back, he's out there busting his ass. These guys are getting ready to go, and I love this team. I do. I think they have put together a really good team. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't worry about certain positions, because I do. And when I say worry about certain positions, that doesn't mean I think they're bad at those positions. There are just guys that are going to have to go out there and show us that they can play. Then you do get positions that you know if one guy goes down, one starter goes down, that position is in big, big trouble. But thankfully, that's why you have Howie Roseman. That's right, the little guy, Howie Roseman, with his glasses, his pocket pencil protector, calculating the calculations of cornbread, looking to always become better, looking to always add to the roster. Something the Dallas Cowboys would know nothing about, okay? And we're going to get into it in a second. Few things first. First, I want to wish my parents a very happy 50th anniversary. It's their wedding anniversary tomorrow. I'm doing everything I can to get out there as soon as I possibly can. There are things going on, so I'm trying to work that out. But a happy anniversary to my parents. 50 years, it's a long time. It's amazing, and I just wanted to congratulate them. And I can honestly say that watching them growing up as a married couple had a huge, profound influence on me and my marriage and how I am in my marriage. So just want to tell my parents I love them and happy 50th wedding anniversary. Now, I know you guys have seen this, and I did talk a little bit about this the other day, but for whatever reason, my computer's acted really weird, man, and I'm having a hard time importing things, so I couldn't get these pictures. But Dov Kleeman wrote this: Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are putting in extra work together before the Pound Eagles training camp that starts in 5 weeks. There you see those guys putting in the work. Then you have, he wrote this too, Jalen Hurts is training with new wide receiver Johnny Wilson, and Saquon Barkley is working with running back Will Shipley. You have to love this. The Pound Eagles, he says, are locked in. And that's what matters. You can take all the bullcrap, all the naysayers, all the phony drama that has been going on lately, and you can take all of that and you can basically throw it in the trash. Because if the Eagles aren't listening, if they're doing their thing, concentrating and focusing on what they have to do, then none of that outside noise means anything. It doesn't mean anything. The truth of the matter is this: the noise is always there. Every year for every team, you're going to have it. It's how you block it out that matters. And this team, by seeing Jalen Hurts on the field with Barkley, they're working. They look like they have blocked it out. And that's a really, really good thing, man. I cannot wait for camp to begin. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. And I do think this team is really improved. I think there are certain positions that they've had clear upgrades on, okay? I think running back, starting position-wise, is a clear, giant upgrade. I think the linebacking position, even though we could talk about that needing depth, and yes, our linebackers haven't been good in the past, I think the additions they've made have been a huge upgrade at linebacker. I think safety with C.J. Gardner-Johnson back was a huge upgrade. I think everybody's going to agree that the cornerback situation with Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Isaiah Rodgers, Ringo in his second year. That's the cornerbacks are deep. I mean, you could arguably say that the cornerback position maybe the deepest position on this team. We've got positions that we're deep and we're good at. However, there are positions that you have to worry about. Now, like for example, like I worry about the edge rusher position. I do. I worry about who's rushing the passer. However, that doesn't mean I think they can't do it or they won't be successful. It's a matter of I need to see it done because we really haven't seen it done yet with these guys, or they've only done it 1 year. Huff, if you look at Bryce Huff, he did it 1 year. He had one good year last year. I think he's going to be really good for us. I'm excited that he's here, but I need to see it. I need to see Nolan Smith and what he does, what he's going to do in his second year. These guys, what they do, it matters. I need to see Josh Sweat rebound from last year because I think his second part of the year stunk. I mean, you want to talk about Hassan Reddick only going for sacks and stuff. When all those reports came out, Josh Sweat was included in that with Hassan Reddick. But that's a position that I look at and I say, yeah, of course, if we could add a edge rusher, I would love it. It would be great. It would help us. But I'm very hopeful about a lot of these young guys. Then you get certain positions where it's like if one player goes down, you absolutely know that you're in trouble. You're in big trouble, okay? Like for instance, and we gotta be honest about this. We've got to be honest about this. If you look at the running back spot, and something happens to Barkley, God forbid, I don't know how you can feel good with the running backs we have. Now maybe Will Shipley turns out to be a good running back, but to me, I don't know. Kenneth Gainwell, to me, isn't a guy I look at and say, if you need a running back for 4 to 5 weeks, he's your guy. He could go out and do it. And we got some other guys on the roster that haven't played, that haven't done anything. So when you look at the drop-off between Saquon Barkley and, Kenneth Gainwell and Shipley, who is a guy that I'm not saying is going to be bad. I'm not saying he stinks. I'm not saying any of that. We haven't seen the guy take one carry yet. But when you look and you try to judge where you are depth-wise, I would not mind seeing the Eagles going out and getting another running back that could come in and be somewhere in between what Barkley is and a Kenneth Gainwell or something like that. I mean, when you think running back and guys to add to the depth for the running back position, think of a guy like Dalvin Cook. You get a guy like a Dalvin Cook to come in, yes, he's an upgrade over Kenneth Gainwell. He would definitely be somebody that could hold the fort down if something was to happen to Barkley for a few games. Keep an eye on Miles Sanders. I have said this. Miles Sanders is a guy that could end up being cut or being out there. Maybe you bring him to once again, and he's done it before. He could do it again. Be the number 2 running back for Saquon Barkley behind him. This would be an upgrade over Gainwell and Shipley. We just have to wait and see. We haven't seen enough of him yet. But these are 2 guys that could definitely make the running back position a lot better than it is right now. You can make the argument at safety that you're still thin. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you got Reed Blankenship, but if Blankenship goes down, then what? What are you going to do? Will Cooper DeJean get snaps at safety? I'm willing to bet early on in training camp we're going to see Cooper DeJean take snaps at safety. I think it's going to happen. But if something, let's say, happened to Reed Blankenship, listen, I like Sidney Brown, but he's coming back from injury. I don't even know when he's going to be ready. And the injury he's coming back from usually takes a full year to get your burst back, to get your speed back. So are we relying too much on a guy coming off a major injury to come in and fill a spot? I look at the safety position, and I look at guys out there like Justin Simmons. Maybe there's still a move to be made with one of those guys. It can't hurt to add depth. But I think that safety position is a position that's thin depth-wise. Now, you have a lot of cornerbacks, don't get me wrong, and they can move these guys in. Maybe they put Avonte Maddox in. It's going to be interesting, because if you look at the Avonte Maddox situation with his big-ass toe, and if it's healthy, Maddox is a good player, especially as a slot corner. But if he gets banged up and injuries continue, you could see Cooper DeJean starting in that slot right away and very, very quick. While on the outside, your corners are really, really deep. So I look at the safety position as another position that you could really use the depth. You could use depth by adding another piece. Wide receiver is an interesting one, and it's one that I kind of go back and forth on, because I look at a guy like, you got A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith, but then you look at a guy like Paris Campbell, really hasn't done anything. But he might be good enough to be a slot wide receiver. Then you look at John Ross, who really hasn't done anything, but has looked good in camp. We're hearing great things about Britton Covey, that he has looked really, really solid in training, in OTAs and minicamp. And then you get Anaya Smith, who I personally think is going to come into camp and he is going to skyrocket up the charts. Now people say, well, he's been struggling at OTAs or he muffed some punts. I'm not worried about all that. I'm not worried about it. The guy hadn't practiced in a long time. He was coming off injury. I'm willing to bet, and I still believe, that out of all the receivers, or out of all the rookies, rather, all the starting rookies, if you look at Anaya Smith, his path to start is easier depth-wise than anybody else. He just needs to go out there and play. But I do go back and forth at the wide receiver position. I think to myself, geez, if Campbell doesn't show, and doesn't really have anything left, and John Ross has just been what he's been, then, and Anaya Smith is still learning, who do we have at the slot wide receiver? That is something that I'm very concerned about. And that's a position that the Eagles could once again look to fortify. Now, that position, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't do anything until after we get into camp, maybe in preseason, and you see how it's kind of going. But a position like the running back position, I don't think you need to wait. I think if the Eagles wanted to go out and bring in a running back, I would be okay with it, because your depth, the drop-off between Barkley and anybody else is deep. It's really, really a big drop-off. Tight end number 2, same thing. Dallas Goedert hasn't showed that he can stay healthy a full year. Hopefully can. So there are positions that right now that the Eagles could go out, not spend a lot of money, and add depth. And I think that depth is very, very important. And I think that they should concentrate on the areas where you have a big drop-off. The drop-off at running back between Barkley and Gainwell is huge. Add somebody that you could put in between those two guys, and I think you're ready to go. Now, maybe Will Shipley will come in and it'll be fantastic, and that's all she wrote. We don't have to worry about. I hope. But if I looked at 3 positions where I would like to see the Eagles, or we'll say 2 positions before training camp, where I'd like to see them add depth, safety, running back would probably be those 2. I think linebacker is always a position where you could definitely add to it. And then the wide receiver position, because there are just guys on there, if we're being honest, that have never lived up to what they were supposed to be in the NFL. And it doesn't mean they're going to be good enough at those positions. But we'll see. I think more than not, we'll wait and we'll probably get into camp. I think the Eagles will look to trade James Bradbury, something like that, probably another cornerback, and then you'll see depth. I think you'll definitely see something happen with a running back, with a safety, and or with a wide receiver. But it's going to depend on who's out there and what the Eagles want to do with positions like the safety. Do you want to let the rookies play, or do you want Cooper DeJean to stay in the slot? It's going to be interesting, but I would say the 2 positions to add before camp starts, safety and also running back. To me, those are the 2 positions that you really need depth, and you need it quickly. Not to mention, edge rusher is still a position that if you could bring somebody in, a veteran, I think that would be a good thing as well. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it.
Hi, Michael Anthony, Fitness here, MAF.